Okay, it's time to continue our review for the Unit 3 lecture geology exam. And so now we're going to talk about introduction to landscapes and the hydrological cycle. So our review basically consists of three parts. So in part one, we talked about earthquakes, geophysics, and mountain building. So this was all about the internal processes of the Earth and how it caused plates to be pulled apart, pushed together, and how that generated different geological structures such as folds, faults, domes, basins, mountains, and so forth. Okay, then in part two, we talked about the geological history of the Earth and how we know that that geological history took place. And now we're into part three, which is on geomorphism. So geomorphism is how the atmosphere and gravity of the Earth has carved surface features onto the surface of the Earth. So we're first going to begin by talking about the atmosphere of the Earth, and then we'll talk about how that produces some of these geomorphic features. So be reading Interlude F out of your textbook. So let's begin by talking about the atmosphere, and then we're going to talk about how the atmosphere causes weather, and then we're going to talk about how that weather in turn causes geomorphic structures. So let's begin with the atmosphere. You've got to know three different layers to the Earth's atmosphere. So you need to know the troposphere. The troposphere is going to be the lowest level of the Earth's atmosphere. That's where the weather takes place. So if you see clouds in the sky, they're in the troposphere. Okay, the next layer that you need to know about is the stratosphere. So the stratosphere is where the ozone layer is at. Ozone is O3. And what it does is it blocks ultraviolet light. So without the ozone layer, the ultraviolet light would reach the surface of the Earth and it would cause skin cancers and cataracts, and chances are life would not be able to live on the surface of the Earth without an ozone layer. So I encourage you to watch this little video here which explains the ozone layer in more detail. Okay, then on top of the ozone, or on top of the stratosphere, is several different layers which we're going to lump together and call the ionosphere. So in the ionosphere, things are ionized. So that means incoming hard radiation from the sun. So remember that the ozone layer is going to be blocking ultraviolet light. So this is in the stratosphere. In the ionosphere, it is going to be blocking the gamma radiation and X-rays. So these are, again, very dangerous forms of radiation that are going to be blocked by the ionosphere. And then as those gases are excited by this radiation, they begin to glow. And so that's where we're going to be getting the auroras from. Now the Earth has yet another shield. So we've got this shield here that protects us against the ultraviolet. We've got this shield that protects us against the gamma rays and X-rays. And then we've got our magnetic field. So that the Earth's magnetic field protects us against particle radiation that comes from the sun. So this would be things like protons and electrons, which would be coming in at very high speeds, and if they were to reach the surface of the Earth, they could cause a lot of damage. But these things are going to be intercepted by the magnetic field of the Earth, and it channels it to the north and the south poles, where we're going to see the auroras, the northern auroras and the southern auroras. Okay, let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about how does the atmosphere actually produce weather?